What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Wales, New Jersey, back again for another UFC Fight Night. Burns versus Brady at the Apex in Las Vegas this Saturday night. Let's take a look at some of these fights on this card. Alright, so main card kicks off at 7 p.m. East Coast time. The prelims start at 4 p.m. East Coast time. First fight, Zigomantes Ramasaka versus Nathan Fletcher. Now, this was supposed to be on the previous fight night, but it got scrapped because Nathan Fletcher had a medical or health issue a couple of hours before the fight, so they rescheduled it for this one. Both guys coming off the Ultimate Fighter. They both lost in the semis, I think it was, no, the quarters. They both lost in the quarterfinals. So UFC put this together to open up this card. So should be a good little scrap to open up. Then we got Andre Petrosky versus Dylan Budka. Then we go on to Jacqueline Amorim versus Vanessa Demopoulos. Then we got Gabriel Santos versus Yiza. And then Andre Lima versus Felipe dos Santos. This should be a good little scrap right here. 9-0 Andre Lima versus 8-1 Felipe dos Santos. Andre Lima is 2-0 in the UFC with wins coming against Mitch Raposo and Igor Severino. That's right, he's the guy that got bit in round number 2. He got it tattooed on his arm after it. Alright. And he's going up against Felipe dos Santos, who is 1-1 in the UFC with a win over Victor Alan Tamarano. Split decision, so close fight, and he lost to Manel Cap. Alright, it's a good little scrap there. Two Brazilians. Looking forward to that one. Then we got Isaac Dolgarian against Brendan Marote. Then we got Ovin St. Preux versus Ryan Spann. Man, Ovin St. Preux still fighting. At the age of 41, he's still fighting. Good for him. Let's take a look at his last couple of fights. He is 15-12 in the UFC, so he's got 27 fights in the UFC. It's a lot of fights. His last win was against Kennedy Nzechukwu. Then he did lose to Philippe Lins, beat Mauricio Shogun Hua in 2022. Damn. Lost to Tanner Bosa, Jamal Hill, Ben Rothwell. Good for him though. Known for the Von Flue choke, man. If he locks that in, it's over. But he's fighting against Ryan Superman Spann, who is 7-5 in the UFC, coming off a 3-fight losing streak against Bogdan Guskov, Anthony Smith, and Nikita Krylov. So against Anthony Smith, it was a split decision, so that was a close fight, and then the other two, round 2 and round 1, not very close. How old is he's 33, so Ryan Spann is 33. We should see, that should be an interesting fight. Can Ovin St. Preux roll back the old days? And we'll see, that should be a good, interesting fight. Then we got Rong Zhu versus Chris Padilla. Hang on a minute. Chris Padilla, that's Prospect Place Willie. You ever see the movie Ghost?
Prospect Place, Willie?
Alright, so Padilla is 1-0 in the UFC with a win coming against James Lontop. Rear naked choke in round 1. Alright, Prospect Place Willie. He's fighting Rong Zhu from China, who is 1-2 in the UFC with a win against Brandon Jenkins, lost against Rodrigo Vargas and Ignacio Bahamondones. Spit it out. Rong Zhu, though, has been on the road to the UFC show over there in China, where they focus on the Chinese fighters and bring them through like an Ultimate Fighter system kind of thing, Dana White's Contender Series kind of thing. So he's had a couple of wins over there on that. But with 2 losses and 1 win in the UFC, bringing him back against Prospect Place Willie, that should be an interesting fight. I've got my eye on that one. Then we got Trevor Peek against Yanal Ashmons. Then Matt Schnell against Cody Durden. Kyle Nelson, Steve Garcia. Co-main event, Jessica Andrade versus Natalia Silva. Jessica Andrade, always an entertaining fighter to watch. Been in the UFC for a while too. 17-10, 27 fights in the UFC. Last couple of wins coming against Marina Rodriguez and Mackenzie Dern. Did lose to Tatiana Suarez, Zhang Jinan, and Erin Blanchfield. And she's going up against Natalia Silva, who is 5-0 in the UFC. Well, she's undefeated in the UFC, with a couple of wins coming against Viviano Arjuro, Andrea Lee, Victoria Leonard. These wins come by unanimous decision, round 1, round 3, unanimous. So, interesting fight here, close fight. I wonder what the odds are for this fight. Does it show it on here? So, Natalia Silva is a -270, moderate favorite. Jessica Andrade is a +215, moderate underdog. So, watch out for Andrade though, because she's on a 3-fight losing streak, so she might go out there and put the pressure on a little bit early on this and see what she can do against Natalia Silva. Then we got the main event of the evening, Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady. Now this is a good fight right here. This is a good fight. Gilbert Burns, the veteran of the UFC, 15-7, with a loss against, last 2 fights were losses against Jack Della Maddalena and the champion Bilal Muhammad. Has beat Jorge Masvidal, Neil Magny, Stephen Thompson, Tyron Woodley, Damian Maia. Look at some of these losses. Jack Della Maddalena, Bilal Muhammad, Hamzat Chimaev, Kamaru Usman. These are all top level fighters in the UFC, top 5 fighters. Gilbert Burns has always been floating in that top 5 in that division. But he's going up against Sean Brady. Sean Brady is 6-1 in the UFC, with his only loss coming to the current champion Bilal Muhammad. In his last fight, he did beat Kelvin Gastelum by Kimura in round number 3. His wins over Michael Chiesa, Jake Matthews, Christian Aguilera, Ismail Nuradev, Court McGee. A lot of people say about Sean Brady that this dude is strong as an ox when they've trained with him. He's primarily a grappler, very good grappler, and trains out of Philadelphia. Never went to college for wrestling, just picked it up in the gym and just fucking went with it. Just been really good at it. So, what are the odds for this one? Let's see. Sean Brady is a -175, so he's a favorite. Gilbert Burns is a +145. Hey, this could go either way, man. Gilbert Burns is a very high-level jiu-jitsu practitioner, whereas Sean Brady is a strong wrestler who has his own submissions, to be fair. So this is a pretty close fight here. Close fight. I don't know. I might pick Gilbert Burns in this one. 5-round fight. I don't know. We'll see. There it is. That's the fight. It's not the greatest one in the world, but there is a couple of good scraps on here. Definitely looking forward to seeing how Chris Padilla, aka Willie, Prospect Place Willie, looking forward to see how he does against Rong Zhu. And then obviously the main event, that's going to be another good scrap. As always guys, enjoy the fights and don't drink and drive. Peace!